Hi guys, it's Jen here and welcome to Jen's World About Art. And this afternoon I'm doing a picture of a KURTISS P-36 fighter plane. These are American fighters, or designed in America in the they were used in the 1930s and 40s. They're powered by a radial engine. They were used a lot in the Second World War by the Americans, and also they were used a lot by the French in the Battle of France. Yeah, they had a radial engine and a 30-inch and a 50-inch machine gun on them. So, yeah, they're an amazing little plane. So, yeah, I've always loved drawing warplanes and battleships and little scenes and things like that. But today, because I haven't done a watercolour in quite a while, I thought I would have a go at something that I really enjoy doing. So I'm using my sennelier watercolours, and I'm going in with cobalt blue, a really wet wash on wet paper, and doing the sky, and I'll darken the sky up. I do a layer, let it dry, then come back, do another layer, let it dry, and I'll do it wet into wet at the top, and I make it so the sky's dark at the top and lighter at the bottom. So that gives some depth and perspective, rather. So I'll keep on with that, pop it all around the outside edges, and now I just run that down with a damp brush so it's lighter at the bottom, let that dry, and now I go in with some raw sienna onto the plane. They've got camouflage colours on them, so I've gone in with the raw sienna as a base coat, and then I build up different browns and greens as I go along. So I add a little bit of brown to the raw sienna, and it's a bit of burnt umber rather to the raw sienna, and that darkens it up. And then I go in with a bit of yellow ochre as well, and just mix those together. And then I've got a bit of olive green, and I mix a little bit of brown in with that, and I take that around. I've used a bit of sap green in that one as well, just to mix up the greens so it's all different greens. And now I'm doing some trim. I've mixed up a grey with my burnt umber and ultramarine, and I'm running that into the engine bay to create the dark in the middle there. And just add some lines around for some definition. So I have gone around the outside with some darker grey lines, but I will brown them off as I go along after. I'll add some brown just to soften those lines. I've just put them there to create some definition, and you'll still be able to see it a little bit through the darker browns. But now I'm adding the trim around the cab where the little pilot is, and I'll draw in the little pilot. Pop the aileron on. So now I'm going in with some more burnt umber, and I've mixed burnt umber a little bit with yellow ochre as well, just sort of soften it up a bit, lighten it up a bit. And now I'm running that around everywhere that's going to be darker. And as you can see, I'm making that darker line that I did before, I'm disappearing it. So I'm making a bit of a deeper brown, and I'm taking that around the edges where I'd done the grey. Sort of blends it out a bit easier, a bit more. So draw that wheel in rather. Pop some more brown around the bottom of the wings. I've added a bit of green to that because that's the khaki part. So that's my olive green and a bit of brown. Now I'm popping the sky into the cab around our little Mr. Pilot. Now I'm doing the colours on the tail and into the emblems on the plane. So they had little targets on their wing and a little one on their fuselage. And now I'm popping some darker shadows into the area where the propeller or the motor is, around the propeller. Do that little landing gear wheel. Put a bit more detail on the Mr. Pilot. So now pop some more definition around that wheel on the front of the plane. So now I'm popping the propeller in. I've mixed up a grey. I've used a little bit of my burnt umber ultramarine, and I added a little bit of, oh my gosh, I've forgotten what it's called now. I've gone completely blank. My white gouache, that's the one. So I added a little bit of white gouache to make it a lighter grey. And then the very tips of the propellers had an orange stripe, so I've just insinuated that they're there and just popped them a little orange stripe at the end. Now I'll pop the numbers in on the wings, do some more darker shadows around the motor. A little bit more definition around the cab. And brown up there. So add some different tonal values around the plane so it's not just all flat colours. Bit darker green there. So that's all just the same colours. I've just added a bit of brown to them. And now I'm going in with my Posca pen. It's an acrylic based pen or an acrylic paint pen. And just to add where I lost the highlights, I'm just adding the silvery bits on the front of the motor and some highlights around the wings, around the props. And just anywhere that there's highlights. Some on the little windows, around the aileron. Now I pop the little landing gear on the back. And just darken that wheel up. And we're just about done. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun to do a watercolour. It's been a while. I hadn't done one for quite a few weeks. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, click like and subscribe, and I'd love to see you all for my next video. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you then. Okie doke. Bye.